The day was November 24, 1971. Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 was preparing for takeoff. The journey was short. Portland, Oregon, to Seattle, Washington. Passengers settled into their seats. The mood was ordinary. A man boarded the Boeing 727. He used the name Dan Cooper. He was in his mid-40s, wore a dark business suit and carried a dark attaché case. He sat in seat 18C in the rear of the aircraft. He ordered a bourbon and soda. The flight attendant, Florence Schaffner, noticed him. He seemed calm and polite. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed Schaffner a note. She initially thought it was a phone number and slipped it into her purse. He leaned closer. "Miss, you'd better look at that note," he said quietly. "I have a bomb." Schaffner, startled, retrieved the note. The words were printed neatly, confirming his claim. Cooper calmly opened his briefcase, showing red-colored cylinders and wires. The flight attendant knew this was not a hoax. The man was serious. The threat was immediate. The lives of everyone on board were suddenly in his hands. The engines hummed, a familiar sound. Soon, they would be airborne, unaware of the drama about to unfold among them. A drama that would become legend. The note was clear. He wanted her to sit beside him. Florence Schaffner walked to the cockpit and informed Captain William Scott of the situation. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. She relayed Cooper's demands. The captain contacted Northwest Orient's Operations Center in Minneapolis and Air Traffic Control. The news traveled fast, and the FBI was alerted. Cooper's demands were specific: $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills and 4 parachutes. He wanted them delivered to the aircraft when it landed in Seattle. He also specified that a fuel truck should be ready. The plane would be refueled upon arrival. Cooper remained calm and methodical. The aircraft circled Puget Sound for nearly 2 hours, allowing authorities time to gather the money and find the parachutes. The passengers were informed of a minor mechanical issue to prevent panic. Cooper remained seated in the back, patient, ordering another bourbon. The tension was immense. Every minute felt like an hour. Finally, word came that the demands had been met, the money was ready, and the parachutes were secured. Captain Scott announced they would be landing at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. Cooper instructed that the plane should be parked in a remote, well-lit area. He wanted the cabin lights dimmed during the exchange to deter snipers. He was thinking ahead, controlling every aspect of the situation. His planning appeared meticulous. The crew and authorities could only comply, hoping for a peaceful resolution on the ground. The safety of the passengers was paramount. Cooper showed no signs of panic or agitation. The situation was now a federal crime. The crew tried to keep things calm, their professionalism masking deep fear. The Boeing 727 landed at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport at approximately 5:39 p.m. The aircraft taxied to an isolated, brightly lit section of the tarmac. As instructed by Cooper, only one airline employee approached the plane with the knapsack filled with $200,000 and the 4 parachutes. Cooper carefully inspected the money and checked the parachutes. He seemed satisfied. Once Cooper had the money and parachutes, he agreed to release the passengers. The 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants disembarked, relieved but shaken. They left Cooper, Captain Scott, the co-pilot, and 1 flight attendant on board. Cooper then outlined his next set of instructions. He wanted the plane refueled and specified the new flight path towards Mexico City. Cooper directed the pilots to fly at a low altitude, no higher than 10,000 feet, with the landing gear down and wing flaps set at 15 degrees. These conditions were unusual and dangerous for a jetliner, but Cooper was insistent. He knew what these conditions meant for a parachute jump. The pilots had no choice but to agree. The safety of the remaining crew depended on their compliance. Around 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off again from Seattle. Only 5 people were now on board. Cooper, the captain, the co-pilot, a flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant. He instructed the remaining flight attendant to go into the cockpit and stay there with the door closed. He did not want to be disturbed. He was alone in the main cabin. The night was dark and stormy. Sometime after 8 p.m., as the plane flew through the turbulent night sky, a warning light flashed in the cockpit. It indicated that the aft air stair, the rear staircase of the Boeing 727, had been opened. This was Cooper's exit. He had lowered the stairs and was preparing to jump. The crew in the cockpit felt a change in air pressure. They knew what was happening. Cooper, with his $200,000 in a parachute, was about to leap into the freezing, rainy darkness. The jump occurred somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Nevada. The exact location was uncertain. The area below was rugged and heavily forested. The weather conditions were treacherous. A fierce storm raged. The temperature at 10,000 feet was well below freezing. Cooper jumped into this hostile environment. Did he survive the jump? Did he land safely? What happened to the money? These questions immediately arose. The authorities were left with a vanished man and a profound mystery. An extensive search operation began, led by the FBI. Law enforcement and military personnel scoured the suspected jump zone for months. They found no trace of Cooper, no parachute, no body, no money. It was as if he had simply evaporated into the night air. The case became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. The man known as D.B. Cooper became a legend, a folk hero to some.